red light. Or see the red light.
So my name is Traci Bugaj.
And I'm Clarissa Chambers.
In our presentation, The Business Case for More Diversity, will investigate diversity and inclusion in the workplace and why it's important to study and understand its benefits.
So a little bit about Traci and I are both business administration majors in the School of Business here at SUNY Geneseo. The topic of diversity and inclusion within the workforce is an important topic because it not only pertains to us, but also the entire audience in our classroom, because the majority of us are entering the workforce. Whether it be an internship or a career after our time at university, the structure of your workforce will have an impact on your role in a business. So what is diversity and why is it important? By definition, diversity is the degree of differences in identifying features among the members of a defined group. In this era of globalization, diversity in the business environment includes, but is also not limited to, racial or ethnic classifications, age, sex, religion, physical ability, gender identity, and any other underrepresented groups. From a business perspective, a diverse workforce will include having a well-rounded set of these attributes within your employee basis, and that is in turn reflective of society and your consumers. On the opposite scale, a homogeneous work environment is susceptible to sharing the same ideas. Thus, this becomes less enticing, and your work will have a harder time reaching a wide range of customers. Throughout the Wall Street Journal's article, The Business Case for More Diversity, which we are looking at, research showed that the top 20 most diverse companies not only showed better operating results over lower scoring firms, but their shares also outperformed the less diverse firms. This finding shows that having more diverse workforce helps to fuel innovation and thus creating better products, which further leads to growth and profit. Through this, you can learn that diversity in the workforce is an asset for your business and their employees, as it promotes creativity and empathy in a way that a homogeneous group simply can't. Also, this promoted collaboration will lead to greater levels of employee satisfaction, which then leads to employee retention, further making your company more attractive to future applicants.
So some key points are highlighted in the article. So the Wall Street Journal described their findings from a recent study conducted on diversity. The S&P 500 is a stock market index that measures the stock performance of 500 large companies listed on stock exchanges in the United States. The S&P represents the market's performance by reporting the risks and returns of the biggest companies. The companies and sectors that were analyzed were those that made up the S&P 500. They were evaluated on how diverse and inclusive they were. Scores were given on a 1 to 100 scale based on metrics including age and ethnicity of the company's workforce, the percentage of women in leadership roles, diversity programs, and the makeup of the board of directors. Progressive Corporation took the top spot. They had a diversity score of 85, and JP Morgan Chase & Company took second place with a score of 80. So it was determined that the financial industry was the best performing sector in the study. Banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions made up the majority of the top 20 most diverse companies, and the overall diversity score for the industry as an average was 50.4. In second place was the communications services sector. They had a score of 49.5, and following that in third place was the consumer staples industry, and their score was a 48.8.
Why do you think there's differences by industry? Is there anything unique by it, one industry or another?
I think the one thing that also mentioned in the article was that manufacturing companies and stuff like that had a less diverse score, and I think this could be because of more men are working, for example, in these companies. So I think that depending on what job you're doing, and I think that's why banks is not so much manual labor, so it allows for example more women to be involved in that, I guess, in some people. So the study also found a link between performance and diversity. It was found that the more diverse and inclusive a company was, the better their business was performing. Research showed that the 20 most diverse companies had an average operating profit margin of 12%, as compared to 8% for companies who ranked less diverse. Additionally, their shares.
So you're saying that they do better if they're diverse.
Yeah.
Well, and that's significantly better. The difference between 8 and 12 is almost 50%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why wouldn't you do it?
It seems obvious, but it's.
And is that something new?
Sorry?
Is diversity something new, or has it been around for a while?
I think it's been around, but it hasn't been to the extent that we're seeing in current years. I think that like lately we've been going through like a really big cultural shift where, a lot of things, for example, like gender fluidity is a big thing. So things that like may not have been so acceptable with certain genders are more acceptable now. And I think this is like reflecting in people's jobs as well.
Okay.
So also additionally, their shares had an average annual total return of 10% in 5 years, as compared to a 4.2 return for the 20 least diverse companies.
Interesting.
There are many reasons as to why this link exists. Having a well-rounded workforce has allowed companies to be more innovative, as people from many different backgrounds are coming together and brainstorming ideas.
So you get different idea set.
Yeah.
Different points of view, different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A company's ability to innovate is vital in our fast-paced technological world, as it allows them to create and maintain a competitive advantage over rivals in the industry. Another reason this link exists is due to retention. A Deloitte survey that was conducted in 2019 showed that 63% of millennials will consider quitting their jobs if their employer did not prioritize diversity and inclusion. Companies will be able to retain the talent they already have when they have a diverse atmosphere. This allows companies to be more successful than financially over the long term. Similarly, a company that values diversity and inclusion are more attractive to applicants and future prospects. The current landscape of hiring employees is very competitive now, and companies have found that implementing diversity programs helps to attract young workers.
Okay, here's a question for both of you. Given a firm that's very diverse and one that's not, if everything is equal, which firm would you go with?
The more diversity, because I feel like it, at least from like a moral standpoint and like an ethical standpoint, it just shows a lot more about the business if they're accepting more diverse applicants.
I agree. I think that it would be really morally better. And I think for my own learning and my own life, like it would be really nice to see like how people from other backgrounds kind of operate and like so I can truly understand other people as well.
Okay, what if the non-diverse firm paid you 5% more? What would you do?
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Okay, so now you got the same two firms, but the non-diverse firm is going to pay you 5% more. What do you do?
I would still go for the more diverse firm. I just think that the lessons and the knowledge you would learn in a very diverse culture are honestly priceless. Money can't really buy the experience, so I think that's really
and also I feel like if you were to move on from this, like let's say it was an internship, or even just like a short-term job after I graduate, I think the experiences that I gained would also have, it would look much better on like a resume if I was applying to like another firm or organization in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's it. I think you're going to find if you go through some of these other presentations, because they talk about some of the same thing, not just diversity, but social economic. And I think you're going to find a lot of your peers in your cohort said the same thing, that these things are worth more than 5% more in pay.
Mm-hmm.
How about 10% more?
I still think diversity is more important.
There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just exploring with you. Okay, keep going.
All right, so through this research on the S&P 500 index, it's clear that diversity brings many advantages to an organization, leading your business to outperform other organizations that do not invest in diversity. In support of the Wall Street Journal's findings, the Boston Consulting Group studied hundreds of companies across 8 different countries across the globe, including Austria, Brazil, China, France, Germany. Over 75% of these respondents indicated that diversity is gaining momentum in their workforce. As presented in the chart here, the most significant takeaway from this study is the strong correlation between diversity and overall innovation within the company. The companies with an above average diversity report 19% higher revenue due to innovation. Thus, 45% of revenue was caused by innovation versus 26% in these below average score companies. This further indicated that diversity is key to growth in your company. It just shows that diversity is not just a metric to be strived for, but that it's necessary in creating a successful revenue generating business.
So, what actions should be taken by firms? A firm that values diversity and understands its benefits should take certain actions in order to support their employees. First, if they do not already have one, a diversity program should be put into place. There are even companies that specialize in assisting other companies in improving their diversity and inclusivity efforts, and corporations would benefit from their consulting advice. Additionally, the company should partake in diversity training for all. This would ensure that every employee fully understands how to be inclusive and value diversity within a company. A company who values diversity should also take the time to ensure the working environment is comfortable for all. This can be done in a variety of different ways, but one way is by creating a department that solely focuses on diversity. The employees of this department will have the task of creating and maintaining environments that foster ideas from everyone, and also that everyone's comfortable where they're working. And also, a firm that values diversity should take actions to ensure that they do not only have they do not only value diversity within their employees, but within their products as well. Products should be created.
What do you mean by that?
I'll kind of go into it here, but
I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No, that's okay. Products should be created so that every customer is represented. If product lines are not diverse, the consumer base is not diverse. Therefore, a company should put the extra effort into ensuring every person is well represented.
Okay. Do you think if you were, and I guess let me ask it, essentially, if it's just simply as women, you could say there's an all-male firm. Okay. Take somebody like me who works with careers and students. If I know of a program that's specific for women or other underrepresented groups, should I just share that information with everybody? Or do I try to reach out to you and say, hey, this is a great program, it's for you because you're an underrepresented group? What should I do?
I feel like that's like the whole point of inclusivity is not having someone feel singled out. And like I feel like with a program like that, it's something that you could maybe post on a forum or like on the school's website or on a job listing page. But then like if you see the student in a meeting, like bring up like, oh, I found this incredible opportunity, you should check it out. Let me know if you're interested.
Okay. I mean, some things are obvious and I can do that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, you know, I can deal with that as male, female. But now that we have gender fluidity, how do I, if they have special programs for those that are transgender, gay or lesbian or whatever, how do I approach that?
I would say the same way, because you don't want to single anybody out or assume anything about anybody. So right. I think that it's important to at least make sure that everyone has an equal knowledge about it.
Of the opportunities.
Yeah, okay. Like they all know about it and they can make their decisions on their own what they want to do.
Okay, and then they literally, you're saying it would be a self-identification thing. So
right,
I said,
yeah.
This is an opportunity. If you're interested in these programs, make sure you understand what the requirements are and then come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So inclusivity. So clearly, diversity is very important in the business world. However, it's also noted that diversity alone is simply not enough. So, kind of like the previous question you just asked, inclusivity. It's also extremely important. It's an extremely important idea that companies must follow in taking diversity. Define inclusivity as the practice or policy of including people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. Diversity allows people to understand that every person is unique, and we must embrace these differences instead of fighting them. Once a person can truly understand this, they can practice inclusivity, where they ensure that every person has an equal opportunity regardless of background, race, age, or ethnicity.
So Procter & Gamble, or P&G, was one of the top-ranked companies of the Wall Street Journal survey. They've been able to use their diverse workforce and expand upon it. P&G has created new hair care brands for people of color, including the launch of Head & Shoulders Royal Oils collection. This line, created by a team composed of the company's Black scientists, has allowed P&G to truly embody the diversity they value in the workplace. Not only have they been able to cater to more customers, but P&G has also reported a 5% growth in organic sales, and organic sales are those that are not attributed to acquisitions at all. So this clearly demonstrates that diversity is beneficial, and it's also like morally right, and P&G is a model case study for this diversity.
Okay. What can we do in Geneseo? Are we diverse, do you think?
I don't think we're as diverse as people may make it seem we are. I think we have a lot of clubs that can attribute to everybody, but I also think the population is very sided one way. I think just making sure, like, emphasizing that, like, no matter who you are, what you believe, any of that, like, you have a place here, you're comfortable, like, there, like, efforts we taken to make sure that everyone gets equal opportunity and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I think when you look at it, we're the biggest similarity between everybody at Geneseo is most people come from a very similar social economic background.
Right.
That from when you look at different experiences.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why I disconnected for a second.
Oh, okay, go ahead. But that's one of the things I think. Go ahead.
It's like there's like really bad weather. It's raining and stuff. That might also be like the background noise right now.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and there are my dogs. So, from an ethical standpoint, hang on.
Go ahead.
Okay, so from an ethical standpoint, it's crucial for companies to stand up and advocate for diversity and inclusion and intolerance in public platform. A great example of this is Nike's support of the American football quarterback Colin Kaepernick. In 2018, Kaepernick appeared on Nike's advertising campaign, championing the slogan, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Just do it." This sacrifice represents Kaepernick's kneeling protest against police brutality in the U.S. before NFL games during the national anthem. More than just a marketing exercise, Nike's choice to build its brand around Kaepernick and what he stands for showed the world that one of America's best-known corporations was willing to stand alongside one man during his battle against racial injustice and tolerance. Additionally, from innovation and company growth standpoint, this boycott earned Nike $6 billion in revenue, which is ended up being like a huge win for Nike.
So one may be wondering how exactly diversity impacts them. Diversity and inclusivity are important factors for everybody, regardless of your track in life. As college students specifically, we will soon be entering the workforce, and understanding how diversity and inclusivity functions is vital to our success. Internships are great for future workers to get a taste of what life will be like when we enter the workforce. Interning for a company that values diversity will help us to see firsthand the impacts it has on business, both morally and in terms of profit. Once we enter into full-time careers, it is important that we understand what diversity is and how fostering a diverse environment will provide positive results. If we find ourselves in a situation in which we work for a company, for example, that does not value diversity as much, then we can be the ones to show why it is vital and how we can implement programs to foster diversity going forward in the company. Diversity is also important to everyone because it relates to our values as an individual. Our beliefs and values are important and they make us who we are. So it's really important that we find ourselves in inclusive environments where every single person in the workforce or any environment is valued, heard, respected, empowered, and feels a true sense of belonging. Otherwise, it will lead to an uncomfortable environment, and no person should have to work or live in an environment where they are not truly comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity is impactful because it allows the creation of new thoughts and ideas. When people from different backgrounds come together to solve a problem, new ideas come to light that would not be able to in a homogeneous group. This fosters learning for and understanding for every individual involved.
So, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So in conclusion, any business has the power to transform and change and contribute to a more open, diverse, and inclusive society. We can accomplish this by starting from within the organizations. This case for establishing a truly diverse workforce grows more compelling each year, and, as intuitively diversity is shown to be crucial for a business. The
But a
ethical
key point
argument,
not to be missed is that the economic performance of the firm is better too.
yeah. So the ethical argument weighs enough, but in addition, the financial impact, as proven by all these case studies, from the Wall Street Journal's article, make it a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What did you learn from doing this?
I knew diversity was really important and like morally, but I guess I didn't realize at first how much it could like on paper impact your business. And I think it's good because it's important. People can't like the results are on paper, like they're here, they're proven in this survey. So I think it's important so like people can't really go against it. Like there's no argument really against being diverse and open to, change and anything. So I think that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Also, before this class and this article, I really didn't know about the S&P 500, and it's really interesting that like even with all the news on like diversity and inclusion and all the articles out there, like there's still that aren't going through this change and adjusting to.
Good.
So,
Good. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.